Anyhow, when we tried to change a casting director's mind, let's say they wouldn't even see us because they thought that we were crap because we did one bad audition, right? Well, what we would do is, we as actors would get together and we'd do one-act plays. And maybe a series of 3 one-act plays. We'd send out cards to casting directors, agents that we wanted to see our work to change their mind or to get representation. Okay, so what happened was, when I got here, I moved here, I was in LA and New York working both coasts for 18 years. And then I met Nico and I moved to Holland for 1.5 years, that's where Vanessa was born, and then his job changed here. That's how I got here to Houston. And the market was drastically different. I mean, so different. And I had a child. And I became a Christian. That are like huge changes, okay? So I could no longer do some of those things that I allowed myself to do before in LA. And so the thing of it is that I started teaching, and I love teaching. And I was teaching even when I was in New York. I'd always have my camera set up. These girls wouldn't be booking, and they'd be like complaining, and I'd say, well, come over and I'll show you what's wrong. And I'd get them on camera, I'd say, you're doing this and this and this. And so I started teaching at Mercury Studios. Anyhow, what I saw with my students knew they couldn't get an agent, or they were with an agency, they weren't getting sent out, so they were contractually obligated for that year, but they weren't being sent out for any auditions. How can you get better if you're not auditioning? You can't. And so, you know, it was just terrible. So people kept wanting me to manage them, they kept wanting me to take them to LA. I did not want to do that. And so basically what happened is that a girl had called me, and she was a peer, a fellow actress, a little bit older than me, and she had said, I'm teaching and coaching this group of people, and I have to go to Sundance. I do a workshop every summer. Can you come and finish coaching these kids for a showcase? So, you know, I said, sure, you know, I'll check it out. And I went over there and saw the tapes of this showcase, and I thought, wow, that's a pretty good opportunity, and maybe my students, I could let them do this. So I coached this group of people, and paid for my way to go up and check this showcase out, and I was appalled. I was so mad. I was so mad at this showcase because nothing like what they had on the video was at all like what they had was there. And so I went into their little place that they run it, and I was like, you've got to be, I was so mad. Anyhow, so then when we were going around Statue of Liberty, and Steve, who was a big construction guy, 25 years old, owned his own company, very good, and he goes, so let me understand, Kim. So one of these VIP is actually just going to come up to me, and they're going to say, I want you to do a movie for me, and then they're going to pay my way out, and I'm going to go to LA. And I said, what, Steve? What? No, Steve, it doesn't work like that at all. I mean, maybe once in a blue moon and not even that. Like you're talking about once in a million, 100 million times. No, how it's going to work is if they're interested, they're going to invite you to come to LA at your expense. Then you're going to have someone manage your company or sell it. And then you're going to have to take yourself out there, pay a lot of money to find a housing, coach, continually take classes, and you will start auditioning in the LA market. And he was just shocked. He was just dumbfounded. And so when I came back, I was like, that is so not right. So I decided to, you know, develop my own showcase. And I thought, well, let's not go to the mountain. Let's bring the mountain here to Houston. We have great talent here. And so I started contacting VIP that I used to know in the business, casting directors, agents, managers, directors, and I invited them to come here. And it was great. I couldn't believe the response of people wanting to come. I was like, really? You want to come? Okay, good. Wow. You know, so we had 15 VIP, and we had 25 actors at our first one. Almost a 1-to-1 ratio. And it was great. In our first showcase, we had an actor named Sterling Knight. And you know who Sterling is, right?
The blonde hair kid.
Yeah, and he's doing so well. And so Sterling came to me, and his mom had gone to the other showcase that was upstairs from where I had my office. And she was like, something just doesn't seem right, and blah, blah, blah. She had seen my name on the marquee outside. I said, do not do that. Whatever you do, do not do that, right? That was before I even was making up my showcase. He was going on an audition for Jim Henson. Jim Henson had already passed away in Dallas. So I coached him in the lobby of our old studio. And so then he ended up being in the first showcase, and he did very well. Then the second showcase, he did it a second time, and so did his younger brother Spencer and his little sister Scarlett, who was 5 years old, who was just a whippersnapper, okay? So sassy. And and they loved all of them. So that's already said and done. Sterling has had a fantastic career. You know, they moved out there. They're all doing well. And also in that first showcase was an actor named Tony Aller. Do you know Tony? Saved by the Bell, you know Tony Aller? And actually what happened is it turned out that he was on American Idol at the same time he was in the showcase. And so he had to fly Friday night. That was when they were going to meet all the VIP one-on-one. He had to fly to LA Friday night, sing his song, fly back so he could do the scenes and everything he prepared for Saturday and all that. And then, you know, he has just done so very, very well. So we did 4 of those, and it just was so much work and it was so much pressure. And in the meantime, I have one daughter, and her life I was not in. So I closed the studio and I came here and started teaching out of my house. But again, had the same issue with my students that I believed in that weren't getting this opportunity. And so fast forward then a couple of years, Vanessa, my daughter, went to New York Conservatory of Dramatic Arts in New York. It's very, very well known, excellent conservatory. And that was in the summer of her junior year. And loved the guy who enrolled her. His name was John Michael Mars. And so, you know, went up there and talking to John Michael Mars as I'm leaving that first day. It turns out he's from Waxahachie, Texas, okay? And he said something about going to a showcase in Florida the next week. And he said showcase, and I was like, John Michael, what showcase? What showcase are you going to? And he says, well, it's AMTC, it's Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ. And I'm like, what? You're kidding me. When is it? And so he said it was the next week, and I was going to be in Florida the next week, because I am from Florida, and I was just so happened to be seeing my mom and my sister that week. So I went down there and saw them, met them. I really liked what I saw, and I saw a vast difference. Again, it doesn't matter what religion you are, the people who are putting this on are really super, super honest, and that is so important. Not only that, these kids were not out of control. The one I went to in New York, they were screaming, they were talking back to their parents, they were cursing right and left, and I mean, it was so out of control. It was not fun. Okay. So anyhow, I just liked it. It was just so much more calm, it was so much more well run, and I loved it. So we've gone now to 3 of the showcases, and in the first one, Tyler, who used to be he had been competing as a wakeboard guy. You know, he had sponsors and all that, but then he had an injury. And he had gone to A&M for 1 year, and he was floundering it. He hated it. He wanted to act. He had never acted before. And when he came in and he did a monologue, he was like, you are so talented, Tyler. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're really talented. And so I invited him to go. Well, he got a $10,000 scholarship at the New York Conservatory. And his mom was there, his mom was crying, it was so cool. And so he's just finishing his 2nd year up there. So that was really awesome. And then Brandon, who had gone, he had gotten an LA manager, except he's still finishing college, and so now he's looking whether he's going to move at the end of this year to LA or not. And you know Brandon, yeah. Right? So anyhow, then this last one we went to, one of the girls that went with us, Julia, she got her LA manager, and really, really good manager. And so she went out and met with them, and they took her on, and then she got this great agent, and it's the agency's actually in Atlanta, but the woman who she's with discovered Dakota Fanning. And so now they're opening an agency in Louisiana, which is awesome for actors here in our market. So let me talk a little bit about what happens at AMTC. Okay, so first of all, it's 7 days. Did you say it was 6 days? Brooke, I'm sorry, I always think of 7 days.
It's 6 days.
It's 6 actual days, but we always fly in on a Monday, and then the showcase starts on a Tuesday, and then it ends on Sunday night. So sometimes it's amazing, people don't get that, and they made their reservations like middle of the day Sunday. I'm like, no, you have to stay for Sunday night. It was like with Tyler, it was like, he got, you know, it's like people will miss, like, if they get a scholarship or whatever. So
what's the month, Kim?
It's January. This particular winter one is January 1st, which is odd because it's December 31st. It's January 1st through 7th. And I believe January 1st is Tuesday, isn't it? Isn't it, Jana? Can you check that out?